working on the 2000 Ford F-150 5.4. This is a truck I bought to make some money on. Yeah, I was wrong on that one. Anyway, I bought it with a transmission out in it, and I was just going to change the transmission in it, and there's the motor to it. So anyway, I had an issue with one side not wanting to oil correctly on it. The right side on it wasn't wanting to oil correctly, it was looking like. And I know this has been an issue. I've had some buddies of mine call me and ask me what the deal is with it. Why isn't it oiling right? Basically, it's got extremely small oil journals in it. And if you run, basically it all comes down to maintenance. If you're not changing your oil, then it's going to starting to build up in there, and you're going to get sludge and stuff in there, and it's not going to oil right anywhere. But Ford has made some really small oil journals, and it's hard to get that oil up in there where it needs to be. The best thing to do is just run the Motorcraft 520 synthetic blend, what this motor calls for. I know it wouldn't, if it's a 2000 and you look at your owner's manual, it said 530, but they did redact that with a new service manual and say to run 520 in them, like the 04 and up, with the cam phasers and everything on the newer style 5.4s. But that's what I did with this one. I tore it apart. I'm gonna make a video, and I'm just kind of showing you where the oil journals are on it, and what you can do with it on the truck to clean out a little bit of it. And of course, if you pull the heads, you can clean them out really good, and I'll just show you where that stuff is. All right, here's that 5.4. Put new timing chains and everything on it. This side right here doesn't look too bad. It's a little bit darker than I would like it to be, but the other side was extremely rough. It was bad. I've already cleaned it up. You can see the caramelization and the sludge and stuff on here. It's hard to get off, but it's got some little bit of sludge here on top of the bolts. This side's not too bad. There's not really any scoring much on the cam lobes. They look like they've been treated okay, but the other side was really rough, and that's basically due to oiling. Also, put a new timing chain on this. So here's a timing chain tensioner I took off of it. That's a problem. That's nothing but sludge built up in there. It's just stacks and stacks of sludge, and it was just oiling out of this little hole right here and a little hole right here. So of course that's smoked. Your tensioner's smoked. It's just not getting any kind of oil, and that's not changing your oil, period. That's all that comes down to. This is about what it's supposed to be like. That's how deep it's supposed to be. I cleaned all the sludge out of this side here, but you can see on this one here, it's level with oil. That's how much sludge was in that side of the head. All right, here's the head that I've taken off of it, and it was basically just the main reason was to clean out the oil journals in it. I'm sorry, I cannot say that word for some reason. We'll call them galleys, oil galleys in it. Just clean out the oil galleys. There's oil galleys under each one here that lubricates your cam, and you've also got them coming out of your motor here to lubricate your rocker arms and so on and so forth. So basically, take this off here. Basically, you have holes all the way across here. These holes run at an angle, and that angle runs into this big body down here. This big body down here is where the oil runs through, all the way through here. All right. I did have on this one here, this end one was completely clogged up almost. I mean, I had to fight to get that open. And all I'm using to clean this with is just little brushes out of a gun kit. Go get you a gun kit at Walmart for a gun kit for like 15 bucks. And these are perfect, man. Just brush them out. Some carburetor cleaner. So basically what you have right here is gonna be one of the Allen plugs that you can take out right here. And that's the one that runs directly across. So if you just go right above that there, you can see it runs that whole bar all the way across to the back side. And here's the back side. Or actually, this is gonna be the front side, because here's your tensioner. So if you look, it comes out of your main oiling bar, goes across here, drops down to your tensioner, and that's where your tensioner gets the oil to keep the pressure, to keep that tension on the chain. It runs across that there. All right, this one here that runs across, there's a small Allen right here that takes that out. Okay. Now, what I did is I took all the Allens out of it and just ran some brushes in it to clean it all out. Blew some air through it. I still got some stuff I got to clean up on the back side. Put some carburetor cleaner in it to clean it all out. But that's how you do it off of the motor. Now, if it's on the motor, the problem with it on is that front that front one I was talking about, that Allen I was talking about, is tucked up in here. It's up inside here. You can just barely see it right there. If you take an Allen wrench and kind of cut it down a little bit, you can actually get that one out right there by having the timing chain cover off. And you have to have the motor out of it to get this one right here. So it does make it a little bit harder if it is in the truck still and you don't have the head off of it. But if you're going to take the head off of it, if it's not oiling great, it's worth popping the head off of it and cleaning it. Like I said, usually one side gets it worse than the other. But you want to make sure to blow it out so you don't get any stuff stuck in it. And I know if you look at these, they're actually pretty good size. And you always hear, if you read on the internet and stuff, people say they got the smallest oil galleys ever. Well, here's the problem with that small oil galley. This little lifter sits right in here. All right, that sits in there, that lifter sits in there and pushes your rocker. I don't know if you can see that little tiny hole right there. That's the problem. That's a very tiny little hole. It doesn't take nothing to clog that up. That fills up with oil, pushes it through the tip of that. That's also a very small hole. That's what the problem is with these right here. So let's say you even take it apart, pull the cam off of it, you still could probably take these apart right here. This one right here wasn't oiling great, but actually it was pretty clean. Like I said, this was the only one I had an issue with clogged up, but all this in here was pretty clean. These right here were clogged up. I soaked them in parts cleaner and then took a carb cleaner with a straw on it, blew it through there and blew it back through that hole to clean it all out. But that's the main issue with these here not oiling correctly. Now look, I'm not a pro mechanic. I'm not a Ford technician or anything like that. This is just some stuff that I've noticed on these engines as I've been working on the 5.4s and the 4.6s alike. The biggest thing is the oil change. Make sure you keep an oil change. And if you're running just a conventional oil through them right now and you got one that's kind of nasty if you pop the valve cover off, sometimes if you do a run of synthetic oil through it, it'll clean it up, or a part synthetic. I like to keep a part synthetic so it doesn't clean up too much, because if you knock some big chunks loose in there, it could create another problem. So also know that if you do that, it could also clog up the filter on the pickup on the motor. So I've heard people running kerosene through them. Transmission fluid, doing 1 quart of motor oil to 5 quarts of transmission fluid, and it won't hurt the car. It'll run it. Or do a half and half transmission, half motor oil, and it will clean the heck out of the engine. But all that gunk is going to drop down to the oil pan, and you're going to have to pop the oil pan and get that screen clean. But this is just a couple things I've seen on it, and them small galleys and the lifters there. That has been the biggest issue, and they were clogged, pretty much clogged up on mine. And right now I'll take them down and soak them in oil for over the night, let some oil get back in them, and then I'll drop them back in the motor. But I hope this kind of helps you just to see where the galleys are themselves, because I know there's been a lot of question on. My friends have asked me about it, so I just figured I'd make this video to show a couple things like that. Once again, guys, I really appreciate you for watching. I'm gonna try to get some more videos out on this one here, and a couple more I've got coming up. If you like it, hit the like button and subscribe for me. I appreciate it, guys. Have a good one.